Biden's a
It's the 2024 Republican National Convention, and Americans are angry.
I blame the Democrats.
Just days after a failed attempt on his life, former President Donald Trump is in Milwaukee to accept the Republican nomination, but he's being met by an estimated 5,000 protesters.
The blood and body parts of human beings.
Clearly some whack jobs here.
I drove across the country to speak with protesters on both sides about the shooting,
Donald Trump shot,
why they're protesting, who they want in office in 2028,
Michelle Obama,
and a wide variety of other issues,
The Arabs are on my land.
in hopes to make some sort of sense out of all the craziness that is American politics.
Politics is not sexy and never will be.
This is the 2024 Republican National Convention protest.
This is the greatest country in the world.
Where are you from?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is my city.
Where are you from?
I'm from Washington, D.C.
Could you tell us where you're from?
I'm from the Bay Area, San Francisco.
And where are you from, sir?
I'm from Minnesota.
Where are you from, sir?
I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, but I live here, bro.
Where are you from?
Michigan.
Where are you from?
I guess I'm from Milwaukee.
I'm here from Chicago.
Could you tell us where you're from?
Milwaukee.
Where are you from?
I am from Washington County, Wisconsin.
Tell me a little bit about what was your first emotion when you heard that Donald Trump was the victim of a failed assassination attempt?
I'm going to say, unfortunately, that happened. I'm going to keep really what I said to myself. So I'm not going to share that.
Tell me, what were the first thoughts that went through your head when you heard that Donald Trump was the victim of a failed assassination attempt?
I was upset. You know, I said, wow, you can't speak your mind process, your thought process. You can't stand up for your country. I mean, I was shocked. I was shocked. I didn't believe it was real. I saw it live, and it was emotional.
Given that you have children, how do you explain what happened this past week, the attempted assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump? How do you explain something like that to children?
To children, you say that you win by voting, by ballots, not bullets, that there's no call, there's never a case for violence. It's awful, but what happened, that violence was instigated, it really has been brought on by the politics of one man, and that's Donald Trump. He has actually, since January 6th, brought violence into the political arena, and so we need to make sure that he doesn't get reelected. God forbid, he's going to be a much worse president than ever before. So we need to make sure that our kids and everyone knows that violence, there's no place for, and it was horrific on Saturday. But he's the instigator. He's incited violence.
What were your first thoughts when you saw the news a couple days ago that President Trump was the victim of a failed assassination attempt?
I thought it was horrible. There's absolutely no reason for that.
And when you heard that Donald Trump had been a failed assassination attempt on his life, what were your first thoughts?
First off, I was sad. I was sad that it had gotten to this point. But my other thought was, I'm from Bethel Park, the same hometown as the shooter. His parents are 2 blocks away from mine. It was sad because I had so many wonderful teachers that taught me how to disagree with people that had different opinions and still be friends. And that's what America was about. So I just want to say that, you know, while I don't agree with his ideas, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. And reports of lies have been greatly exaggerated. I'm not ready to become a car Stanley just yet.
With the recent shooting, the attempted assassination attempt on President Donald Trump this past weekend, what went through your mind when you first heard the news?
Well, I guess, there was people talking about whether or not it was some kind of setup for election points and stuff. But I just think we don't have enough information about that. So I don't know. That was what people were talking about at first. But I don't know. That was the first thing that went through my mind.
What were your first thoughts when you heard that former President Donald Trump was the victim of a failed assassination attempt?
It was really upsetting just to see that level of political violence in this country. I mean, it's obviously been stoked by his side, but there's no place for it here. I'm out here to protest. I'm out here to raise my voice and not my fist.
It's been about 48 hours now since the tragic attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. What were your first thoughts when you heard that he may have been shot?
Well, I saw it live because I was watching the TV, and my wife is a neurologist, and we were watching it, and the first thing she said after about 30 minutes, she said he's not gonna
he's not going to recover in his hearing anymore. And I believed her because that's her area. He's the trauma to the brain for an old man like that shook his brain. Right now he's on a lot of medication, a whole lot. He has not spoken to the public since. Wednesday will be the first night he's on medication. When that medication wear out, he will have to be strong to speak for 5 minutes, because when you're speaking, your brain vessel working, your whole head gonna be going like this.
It's about 9:30 in the morning right now. The giant coalition protest is set to kick off at about 10 p.m. They predicted that 5,000 protesters would be arriving, but as you can see from this, I mean, barely 1,000 people here right now. So maybe more people are going to come, but right now it seems like the estimate of 5,000 people was a little exaggerated. Can I ask you some questions about the puppet?
Yes, yes.
Does this puppet have a name?
Yes. Donald, tell him your name. Donald, as in the Donald. J, as in the letter J. And Trump as in hello, ladies.
If you were to describe Donald Trump in one word, what would it be?
Dangerous.
And what are you doing here today?
I'm here today, like everybody else, to protest against what the Republican Party is trying to do, and that is destroy America and take away our democracy.
We are clowns, and we're raising the issue that we have a clown running for president, and if that clown is elected, we're going to have a circus. So we are, the circus clowns come to protest the election of a clown into the White House.
What brought you out here to the protest today?
I think it's important that people understand that frankly, it's not acceptable that the city decided this was what we were going to do, that there was going to be money to be made from bringing this group in, a group that historically, I mean, we can go back to the protests in Charlottesville, have not been the kindest of people, if I'm to put it mildly. And the acceptance of money for that purpose, I'm sorry, to do that, it's just, why are you gearing up for something that you know is unacceptable?
What brought you to Milwaukee today?
So I'm in this anti-war committee in Minneapolis, and so we do a lot of work opposing the U.S. funding of the genocide in Palestine. So we're here to oppose the Republicans' long-term support for Israel and to make that presence known here on the first day of the RNC.
What brought you all the way here to Milwaukee today?
Protest the fact that we really don't have much of a political system here. Two parties are like being between a rock and a hard place. They're both imperialist supporters. They both support genocide.
What brought you all the way from California to Milwaukee today?
I'm with Democratic Messaging Project, and we're focused on Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Arizona to be fearless and very provocative with our messaging to make sure that people get out to vote.
What do you hope to accomplish today with the other 5,000 protesters that have arrived?
Well, I think it's important that whether it's at the Republican convention or the Democratic one, that we voice our disgust at this two-party system that keeps us from getting the things that we need as a people, whether it's a good healthcare system, a college education that's free like they have all over Europe, or real serious policies to deal with the climate crisis instead of putting $1 trillion of our money into war. And both of the parties are really war parties. And so I think, we're out here, at least my group, Code Pink, to say we need to change our priorities, and these people in power are not representing the real needs of the people or the planet.
And what are you doing here today outside the Republican National Convention?
I'm supporting all the people who believe otherwise, that don't believe in the policies that Trump is proposing, the freedoms that are being repealed, Project 2025.
And what brought you here to the convention protest today?
I'm protesting for everyone's rights, people of color, LGBTQ, women's rights, I'm here to fight for the rights of everyone in this country.
So I'm finding that most people are more than happy to talk to me and answer my questions, but some, they do not want anything to do with the camera. I think just the fact that I have a microphone in my hand, you know, people have negative opinions about journalists. So I think a lot of people think I'm going to ask them like a gotcha questions or something. So I totally understand. What's that, sir?
J6.
Say that again. What's your name?
Not telling you my name, so.
Where are you from?
Not your business.
Okay.
Because I know you're followed by YouTuber.
Yes, I am a YouTuber.
Yeah, followed by, that's why.
Oh,
Yes, you are.
I'm actually an independent,
No,
sir.
you're not. Okay. I've seen it before. You had a MAGA shirt on.
What are you promoting here on your sign, sir?
Oh, that the GOP is fascist and Donald Trump started insurrection.
So I have a question though. Before you even met me, you thought I was part of the far right. Why did you
I
feel
saw
that?
you at a rally wear a MAGA shirt. So, are you not MAGA then? Are you just pretending?
No, sir. I
So
think you're very
a
confused.
traitor.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Anything you want to tell the world?
No. Oh yeah, Donald Trump's trash.
Thank you for your time. I have to know why you're the best dressed man in Milwaukee.
Oh, because I'm a Republican. I had a points brew.
The outfit is so fresh, my
Thank
friend.
you.
I
Thank
have
you
to
very
compliment
much.
you on it. Are you here as a delegate or are you just here in support of the Republican Party?
I'm here as an influencer. They invited creators here who speak to our audiences about, different causes. A lot of the stuff they talk about policy-wise, it's overcomplicated for people to understand.
Anything you want to tell the world about what's going on here in America?
Hey man, I'm sweaty, but like Trump said, I'm reaching out to every African American like Trump did. Dear black people, what the hell you got to lose? Why not try Trump? The Democrats don't give a damn about you. They only want your votes. Next.
What do you think the world needs to know about what's going on in America right now?
The world needs to know that America is at a precipice, and if we don't do things differently, democracy will fall, women will lose their rights, LGBTQ people will lose their rights, basic health care will go out the window, but more than anything, we have to learn to work together because while I don't like what Donald Trump stands for, I also don't advocate political violence.
Hi, could I ask you a quick question? Sure. So we just got some breaking news about an hour ago that Judge Eileen Cannon threw out the court case against Donald Trump.
Surprise, surprise.
For the documents.
That was expected.
Where do you think the nation goes from here after the case has been thrown out and then less than 48 hours after the attempted assassination?
I think things will quiet down, that people will come to their senses. That my guess is whoever the assassin was, that he has some mental problems, and that even though it's related to politics, the people who are that violent have some mental problems.
So we just got some breaking news about an hour ago that Judge Eileen Cannon threw out the documents case against Donald Trump.
They were telling me that all day. In the wild. Remember when they used to say lock her up? Remember that? What were they going to lock her up for? Remember? It was a campaign slogan, wasn't that? Lock her up. Lock her up. What nameable crime did they want to lock Hillary up for? Do you remember that?
I don't.
She had emails that were not on their proper server, and in those emails there could have been secret documents. There could have been secret documents, they said. There could have been secret documents that could have been given to foreign nationals, and so they should lock her up. Although there was a 2-year investigation seeing if they could have done that, but they didn't find anything during those investigations. Now here we sit today, Donald Trump is accused of those same things, and we have those documents. He admits to taking those documents, and we have public record of a foreign national seeing them. That Australian guy saw those secret documents about our submarines, right? And he's not being held to account for that crime. So that's why I think we should, lock him up. And that's just one of the small crimes, right?
Could you tell me a little bit about your shirt?
My shirt says "Let Gaza Live," and it's a reminder that every day there are dozens of people who are being killed, and there are over 1 million people who are displaced, and there's people who are starving, and we should keep Gaza in our hearts and try to do everything we can to stop the genocide and stop this two-party system from supporting it.
What do you think is the best outcome for Gaza in this election? Do you think it's better for the future of Gaza if Donald Trump is elected, or do you think it's better for the future of Gaza if President Joe Biden gets reelected?
I think it's pretty much a lose-lose situation for the Palestinians because both parties are beholden to the big lobby groups like AIPAC or the Christian Zionists, and they have a very irrational policy of rock-solid support for Israel, while Israel is not only slaughtering people, but has no planned for, quote, the day after. And so I think it's that the Palestinian people can't rely on either party, and that's why there has to be a global movement that supports the human rights and equal rights for the Palestinian people.
Hello. Kill Nazi Hamas. Could you tell a little bit about what you're doing out here, sir?
Yeah, God gave us the Holy Land. We've been there 5,000 years. The Arabs are on my land. I'm not on their land. And to justify what they did with the genocide on October 7th is mind-boggling, because they committed the genocide. We're not committing the genocide. What we're trying to do is kill the people who did the genocide. And so the bottom line is I'm here to counter their false narrative, and they're welcome to do their thing. This is not anything that the public is buying, I know, because I'm out in the streets all the time. And the same threat the Jewish community is happening to the Christian community. They've already killed 100,000 Christians. I get an email just a couple of days ago that they're attacking Christians in Pakistan, of all places. We have to understand that these people have only one issue in mind: control the world, anti-colonialism, anti-capitalism, all the other stuff. Of course, anybody who's making all those kafiyas is certainly making a bunch of money, you know?
The sign says no fascist Trump, no genocide, Joe. The whole damn system has to go. The Republican Party is fascist. The Democratic Party is a party of war criminals who, and they're both staunchly supporting the genocide in Gaza. You know, tens of thousands of people massacred, half of that being children. No politician of this system in this country can fundamentally do anything in the interest of the masses of people here and around the world. That's why we're calling for an actual revolution. That's why we're getting organized for an actual revolution, to get rid of this system.
You're offering us cookies. Thank you.
You're welcome. I send them to my representatives, usually saying what a sweet thing to do would be to end genocide.
What do we have here? We've got the Palestine watermelon,
peace stubs, and the keffiyeh.
Is there anything you want to tell the world right now about what's going on in Palestine?
Well, I would say that Christian support of it is a tragedy, that they would say that God would want to murder people. So anyways, the biggest thing I want to know is that anyone to know is that if you're on the side of genocide, you're just on the wrong side of history.
You're from Chicago?
I am.
What brought you all the way to Milwaukee today?
Okay, we oppose both the Republicans and the Democrats as oppressing the people in the U.S. and in the world. And one aspect of that is in defense of the genocide of the Palestinians, which we have to oppose. It's U.S. aid that's backed by Republicans and Democrats that's going to massacre the Palestinians for the benefit of the rich in this country, which both parties stand for.
Well, the souvenirs keep coming. First we got water, then we got sunscreen, and now we got protection. This is a protect yourself from Republicans condom. Vote Democrat. I'm not saying it, it's what it says. Could you show us your signs?
Yeah. Budget 2025 is anti-American as fuck. This country is built on shit that this will tear down.
If Donald Trump gets reelected again this November,
yes,
what does that mean for the state of America?
That means democracy will be taking a hit. People who do not value democracy will be voting for the person who does not value democracy. And I think that'll be a sad day for democracy. Democracy.
And so everyone at the protest is getting along out here. It's been a peaceful protest.
Yes, it has.
So far. But the media portrays that people are very angry and that it's a very divisive time in politics. What do you think is one issue that both Democrats and Republicans can agree on?
John McCain is a war hero.
There we go.
We're old men. We're in our late 70s, okay? And the Irish poet Edmund Burke said, "The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is if good people do nothing." Okay? So we're going to take our little circus around and we're going to talk about Donald Trump and what a clown he is.
And this is the circus. Oh, and you've got the head right there. Wow.
We're not good for much else, but we're going to say we did something to stop him from being president.
Could you tell us about your sign?
Hi, my sign is a picture of the GOP
stepping on the blood and body parts of human beings, of babies who are aborted.
And what group are you with today?
I'm with the Progressive Anti-Abortion Uprising, also known as PAAU or POW Now.
And what is the goal of your organization? What is their mission?
The goal of our organization is just to spread the message that there are leftists and anti-capitalists and progressives against abortion that are pro-life and that are anti-abortion. We also make it our mission to abolish abortion and help provide structures for women and make people aware of structures for families that can help them keep their children.
Is there anything you want to tell the people of the world? What's going on in America right now?
Biden's a and yeah, he's a hard representation of our country, and I think our country would be a heck of a lot better if we were more pro-life.
And so when you go to the ballot box this November, what is the number one most important issue that's going to decide who you vote for?
The number one important issue for me would be housing.
Housing?
Yes, there's a shortage of housing. I have a daughter who's homeless right now with a special needs child. And housing for us right now is a high priority. So I think that everybody should have a right to affordable housing. So that's the reason why we're going to the polls to vote and to hold on to our democracy.
Is there one issue specifically that is the biggest and closest to your heart that you're here to defend?
Yeah, I'm here to shout out Project 2025 and that it's fucking evil and anti-American. Like, it goes against everything America believes in, separation of church and state. It undoes all of the things that protect the American people from their leaders. Like, it's a terrible fucking thing. Like, 900 pages. I know that's too much to ask most people to read, but I absolutely recommend that anyone who calls themselves a leftist at least raise it, because it's scary as fuck and it will motivate you to do things.
What do you think is the biggest issue facing voters this election season?
Boy, there are a lot of them. One of the biggest issues, though, is autonomy over a person's body. To take away a woman's right to decide about her life and her health with her doctor without government interference, that I think is huge.
When you go to the ballot box this November, what is the number one issue that's the most important to you?
I honestly don't think I can pick a number one issue. They are all very, very important and very dear to me, and I will be voting for Biden.
What do you think is the most important issue affecting voters?
Affecting voters? Dissatisfaction with government?
All right, so now some counter-protesters have shown up. So down there at one side of Red Arrow Park, we have the coalition protesters that are here to protest the RNC. But then we've got the protesters over here protesting the protesters. So it's been about 48 hours since the tragic events, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. What do we need to do as a nation to ensure this never happens again?
His campaign that repeatedly requested increased Secret Service needs to get it. It was a catastrophic failure on the security aspect that they let a would-be assassin get within 150 yards of him with a line of sight on a building with a gun. So Trump's security team 100% needs to be increased, and they need to go over way more protocols to make sure that something like that can't happen again.
Now that this violence has taken place, where do we go from here as a nation? What can we do to heal? What can we do to heal the divide?
Boy, that's an excellent question, and a simple question with a really complicated answer. If you want my personal, just reflexive take on it, is that every living American has to stop being selfish. I think there is such a culture of selfishness in our country that it's a zero-sum game. I have to get my way to the exclusion of you. And that can't happen. I mean, that's what the political process is for, and that's what it's designed for. And I think we have to, one, stop our selfishness, and two, put our faith in the system and know that we may not get our way all the time on every issue. But if we can allow for differing opinions
and we can allow for a public marketplace of ideas, then I think that the system will work. And none of us are going to get everything we want, but we can get enough of what we want that we can be happy, we can live together in harmony, and just love one another. That's what Jesus taught. Let's start teaching love and appreciating each other for our similarities as well as our differences. That's what I think.
And given how divisive the situation in American politics already is with the anger and the violence, where do you see America going as a nation in the wake of this attack?
I'm really hoping that we can move forward in a positive and nonviolent manner. But I think that that's going to take a lot of people standing up and speaking against the political violence that we've seen.
And who do you blame for that? Who do you blame for the violence?
I blame the Democrats. I blame the globalists. I blame socialism.
So more and more people are descending on Red Arrow Park as the day goes on. It's about 11:15 now, and now I've been told that the actual protest, the march, is going to start at noon. So we'll be tracking that, but as you can see, yeah, starting to get a lot more people here. Nowhere near the 5,000 that was predicted. As of yet, they could still show up. But just in the general area here where people are gathering to hear the speakers speak, we've got a lot more people starting to fill in. And so you're from Chicago and you're here with the RevComs. Could you tell us a little bit about that organization?
Well, the RevComs are getting organized for an actual revolution to overthrow the system of capitalism, imperialism at the soonest possible time. There's leadership for this revolution and a strategy that's already been developed. Constitution for a new socialist republic in North America that's been authored by the revolutionary leader Bob Avakia. And that's what we're out here promoting. That's what we're out here getting people organized.
In 2028, 4 years from now, barring any unforeseen, unprecedented situations, we're going to have 2 new presidential candidates. Yes. Who do you think is the best Democrat to lead the country in 2028?
I'm not the best person to answer that question, but being from the state of California, I think Gavin Newsom's pretty good. I would like to see a woman. I'm not sure the country's ready for a woman. I do think that if Kamala ends up coming into our party and being that person for this next term, that we will be well taken care of. But yeah, it's open. I think we have a lot of good choices. It's a pretty deep bench, and I'm excited about the opportunities. And again, we need to vote down ballot to get a trifecta so we can actually enact policies that will help all the people here.
Now, I know it's still 4 years away, but in 4 years, neither Donald Trump nor Joe Biden will be running for president. Who would you like to see be the 2028 president?
You know what? I'm a Don Jr.
Don Jr.?
Don Jr. I'll go with Don Jr. because I don't like a lot of Republicans.
Now, I know it's far away, but in 2028, who would be your ideal candidate to help lead us into the 2030s?
Hey, I got to get through the trauma of this one. I can't. I'm having a hard time waking up without cold sweats every day, so I don't know. I have no idea.
Now, in 4 years, barring any unforeseen circumstances, neither Donald Trump nor Joe Biden will be the presidential nominee. Who would you like to see become president in 2028?
Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, smart man, and I think he could make really good decisions. It'd be nice if Michelle Obama ran, but I'm sure she won't. Kamala Harris could run.
You'd like to see a woman in office?
Well, the rest of the world has done that. I think it's time that we can do that.
Yeah. In 2028, barring any unforeseen circumstances, we're going to have a totally new president, totally new nominees.
Yeah.
Who would you like to see become the president of the United States in 2028?
I would like to see a pretty different system. So I would like to see a very different parties and totally different platforms. So I think that I'm not alone on that. I think a lot of young people and a lot of older people too want to see a fundamentally different system that's fair and reflects our needs as ordinary working people. We have way more in common with the people of Palestine than we do with the leadership here that want to cause wars all over the world. So hopefully the system is pretty different by then, and we'll see if we can make that happen somehow.
So in 2028, we're going to have 2 brand new presidential candidates. Who would you like to see from the Democratic Party run?
That I am not sure right now. And I'm really saddened that, not that I don't support Biden in certain aspects, and he's been a lot better than Trump ever was. But I wish right now we had better candidates, and we don't. And number one, Trump shouldn't even be in there. He's an evil bastard.
We've talked to a lot of people out here who are very angry or disillusioned with both Biden and Trump. Who would you like to see become president in 2028? Who do you think is the best candidate to lead us into the 2030s?
In 2028? I have no idea. Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, okay. Even though it's 4 years away, who would you like to see run for president in 2028?
Teresa Bakovenac again.
Okay, thank you.
4 more years.
And it's officially showtime. It's just afternoon and the rally, the march, has started. So there is a designated route here that the protesters have to follow. There was some issue where they sued so they could walk closer to the convention center. Not quite sure what happened, but the rules state that they have to stick to this certain route. So we're gonna follow them and just see what happens. Hi, who are you here with?
I am nobody.
You're nobody.
I'm just here making sure people are safe.
You're just a beautiful woman. That's all you are, right?
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you, you too.
Are you single?
I am.
Ooh, you got plans for tonight?
So this is from Mean Girls, if you didn't know, from the Burn Book.
All right, so we're at the Lakefront Brewery with two beautiful ladies. What do you think of what's going on in the city right now? Have you ever seen anything like this?
Never seen anything like this. So many people here. It's kind of interesting energy, but yeah, definitely.
Working at a restaurant, do you think it's good for business, all these people here?
Definitely great for business.
Any worries about political violence or anything like that this weekend?
Not yet. Everyone seems to be pretty peaceful as of right now. So we'll see as the week goes on.
Now I want to ask you a very important and controversial question. What is the best beer in Wisconsin?
Spotted Cow.
Sir, could you describe Donald Trump in one word? I cannot. Thank you. All right, we're here with our first Republican delegate of the day. This is John Gordon. John, where are you from?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm an alternate delegate to the convention. And so I've watched conventions my entire life, and I wanted to come down to the protest area and see what was going on. And Brent, I've got to say, I think it represents the best of America and the worst of America. The good news is that people with differing opinions can be here and they can talk, yell and scream in some cases. I haven't seen any aggression. I haven't seen any acts of violence. And for the most part, it's a pretty respectful crowd. And there are any issue you want to debate or voice your opinion on, you can come here just kind of like Speaker's Corner in London and take a soapbox and go at it.
The beauty of America, the beauty of free speech.
I think so, absolutely. Now there are clearly some whack jobs here. There are some people on the other side over there that I think are trying to stir up the crowd. And they're gay bashers and pretty vile at that, which I don't approve of.
He said I look like a movie star. I didn't get a chance to ask him the question. And he's already flattering me. No movies you've seen, sir. What's your name?
Francois. My name is Francois.
Francois, nice to meet you. And who are you voting for? I'm not sure.
No, I don't tell people who I'm voting for. Or you can tell who I'm voting for.
What's Ron DeSantis doing here, though? He's out,
Ron
right?
Was my guy.
Ron was your guy, okay.
He's speaking tonight. So I wanted to, lay him out a little bit.
What message would you have to the young people who aren't able to vote yet? What do you want to tell them?
You know what? Just be prepared. If you're not able to vote yet, you're 17, you're 16 years old, start understanding what's happening in our country. Gen Z and soon to be Gen Alpha are the largest voting bloc that we have in our country. We are the most consequential voters in this nation. We have a lot of responsibility that comes with that. So what I would say is I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm just going to encourage you to think. Think critically. Don't go off of just what influencers are saying. Even someone like myself as an influencer who talks about politics, do your own research, figure out what is actually happening in our country, and study both sides, and it'll become more clear as you get older.
What would you tell the young people of today that are feeling hopeless in regards to the future of the world and the future of politics here in the United States?
I would say to recognize that we're part of a global movement that is rising up for something better for the whole world. The world wants to see ceasefires, whether it's in Gaza or in Ukraine or in Sudan. The world wants to see people cooperating. The majority of people in the world want to see the U.S. cooperating with China, and that we really need to cooperate. Otherwise, we're either going to kill ourselves through a nuclear war or through a climate crisis. And I think young people deserve a future.
And last question, what what would you want to say to the voters who are not old enough to vote in this election, but to the young people who are going to vote in the next election? What would you want to tell them?
You are our future, and we totally believe that you can pull off whatever you dream and imagine, and we can't wait to see you out here.
What would be your message to the young people of today?
Stay engaged. Don't give up on the process. It's easy right now to think that the process is broken and there's no point in participating, but they can't take that attitude. They've got to get involved. Don't shirk your responsibility as a citizen and get involved.
What would you say to the young women of America in regards to voting and how important this time is in history?
Well, I think if you want to have any kind of future, the first thing you want to do is vote blue. You may not like that Biden is old, but he's got an excellent administration. He doesn't want to take away women's rights to choose what to do with their bodies. Doesn't want to take away birth control or IVF or any of the things that are really important to younger women in making the decisions about their life. It's not for legislators to make those decisions.
So about an hour ago, Trump announced that J.D. Vance is going to be his vice president. Wrong move.
Yeah.
Okay, who would you have liked to have seen him choose?
Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio instead.
Would have brought in a vote.
The vice president.
Yeah.
Yeah, he already announced.
I know. That's what I'm just hearing. So, Marco Rubio, he would have won Nevada. He would have gotten the Mexican vote because everybody was going to be history in the making. The first person from a Mexican descent for the office of the vice president would have brought a whole lot of Mexican from Florida, everybody.
And you're out here today supporting President Trump.
Absolutely.
Okay. A few hours ago, he just announced that J.D. Vance is going to be his pick for vice president. How do you feel about that?
I'm pumped about it. As far as the short list went between the last 4 or 5 guys, I'm happy with that he went with one of the more solidly conservative guys. I like J.D. Vance, and I think those two are going to make a great team together.
The march lasted for about an hour, and as far as violence goes, the only criminal offense I witnessed was the smell coming off a few of the protesters. In the end, only an estimated 800 protesters showed up, well short of the 5,000 that were projected. Maybe people just didn't want to bake in the 90-degree Wisconsin summer heat, or maybe people didn't want to protest so soon after such a dark day in American history. Despite all the conversations we had today, the only thing about the future of politics in America that seems certain is that it's only going to get crazier.